stuff's going on, people going down, and there's a lot of really, really cool people there because, you're young and you've got young people around you. So it's a really great atmosphere where you can influence others to succeed more and bring them to success by like saying, hey, here's how to invest, here's personal finance investing. And it makes me so happy to see kids that are like coming up around me and, saying, hey, what do you think about this IPO? What do you think about this stock? Recently there was like these vegan meat companies and they were going public, and it was cool to see people passionate about that industry and then taking them into the marketplace and learning about what investing is and how to do it. But there was one thing I really wanted to cover real quick, and it's just a small thing, but I wrote the book on this stuff, right? And the point with this book is it's just immeasurably difficult for me to, I spent 7 months on this book. And it's something where, if I tried to put it into, a little video series on, here's 0 to 100 in personal finance and investing, it's just not it's just not possible. It's all, text is the best medium to transfer this information because it really is a lot of concrete, this is very specific and applicable information. And with videos, it's just tougher because there's a lot of things that, people need to reread. And especially when I was starting out, if I was reading this book, I would read probably the thing 2-3 times just to get a good grasp on what's going on. And I'm not saying you have to do that, but just understand that there's so much content to get through. So bringing back to the school story, I've got individuals and they're talking about stuff and how they want to get into it, and then they ask me questions like, what do you think about diversification? What do you think about bonds? And I'm like, have you read chapter 35 of the book? Have you read chapter 8 of the book? They ask him, what's an index? I've put it all in this book because I care so much that people know about this stuff, and I think it's super, super important. And there's such a broad depth of information that it would take me hours and hours and hours to explain these individual concepts to people one by one. It doesn't make any sense for me to, or for anybody really, on a one-on-one setting to explain these elementary educational things where if you were to pay a financial advisor to explain it to you, or maybe pay a college class to explain it to you, you're gonna pay thousands and thousands of dollars for their time, for their energy, for the space, versus it's all right here in writing, right? And that's the point, is it's such a radically lower barrier to entry where instead of having to take a college class on finance, or instead of having to pay a financial advisor percentages of your portfolio, or thousands and thousands of dollars, over time, over the years, it's all right here, so you can be your own financial advisor and take your investing to the next level where, you understand exactly what is in the marketplace and exactly how to do everything in it. And I think that's the really huge part of it, is empowering individuals to create real savings and retirements through financial education. And it's something it's not in the marketplace. So that's why I brought it in the marketplace. And that's why, I see these individuals and they're like, Jack, how do I invest? And I'm like, have you read the book? And they're like, no. And they're opening up, brokerage accounts. They're funding them with hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars. These are high school kids. And it's they don't want to invest, their time, but 20-30 bucks in a book that has taken in years and years of, information, investing principles, strategies, literally hundreds of thousands, or $100,000, but tens of thousands of dollars, gains and losses, and my experiences, and me giving that to you just is an information knowledge load so that you don't have to make those same mistakes, and individuals know the right people to work with, right? I've got friends with accounts that have, brokerages at Wells Fargo, and it's if you read chapter 35 of the book, you'd understand that there are potentially much better brokerages for your situation. I look at them and they're not, investing in bonds. They don't need advisors. They'd make no sense for them to sign up with many people, but Robinhood or some of the other very lower cost brokers talked about in the book, but they just don't understand. And so in the long run, by not investing in their education, you see them, facing fundamental issues as they enter the market. They're losing money just based off the way they set things up, especially with tax treatment. I talk a whole lot about that stuff in the book because it's super important. If you understand your taxes, you can understand how to not pay them, and you can, well, not pay them, but make the rules work for you. And then using the system the way it was meant to be used in the best possible way for your situation, right? And that's another thing with this, is you can apply it to your situation instead of paying someone, $1,000 to, consult or set up a tax strategy for you. Like, it's all right there, so you can understand exactly how to take, the setup and the fundamentals to the most profitable space, so that once you get into investing, and now, so like once you get into investing, you've got a whole new space, right? So you've got the fundamentals set up, and now you've started to get into trading, and now you see these individuals putting all their money, like I've got friends, and they're investing, 50% of their portfolio in, the Lyft IPO, or the vegan company IPO, and it's such a huge risk, and it's something I've seen, almost hundreds of times in the marketplace over the past couple of years, just like observing IPOs and looking at all the thousands and thousands of stocks and understanding exactly how these positions move. And I've distilled those principles and that research down into this book, and then I'm going through and I'm explaining, this is what an IPO is, this is what a negative earnings looks like, this is a company that's not making any money, they probably went public so they could raise money. I wouldn't expect much in the short term for that company. And at the same time, you're explaining all of these principles, and it's all right here. And it's all right here, but it's different because it's like 100 times more than something I can orally tell somebody in like 10, 20 minutes. In the middle of a day, right? And it's something where, you invest maybe like a day or two of straight reading, or maybe you read it over a week or two, and you get behind the book so that, you really get it. And if you really get it, now instead of losing 10% on your first trade, which on, a $1,000 position, 10%, that's $100, that's 4 of these books, right? Like, give or take. You look at it and it's like, there's just a disconnect where if you just invest in your education, you can have so much more long-term growth and gain, and then not lose that money at the beginning because you're doing it the right way and you understand proper, strategies, especially if you're just starting out with diversification, or, not necessarily things you'll stick with forever, right? You can always change and adapt, and that's why there's so many different levels of time investment. That's the biggest thing, is time investment. And there's so many different levels of involvement you can have in the market, but at any given stage, there's always going to be, your best proven way to do it. And that's exactly kind of what I go through in the book, to give people that experience and background of, here is pretty much what hundreds of thousands of investors, if not millions of investors, are doing across America. And here's why it works. And then further than that, here's some personal experience evidence and really proven strategies to maximize your profits and mimic the secret workday of the uber wealthy, even if you don't want to put in the time commitment of trading 9 to noon, which is ludicrously profitable. But taking that insight and experience and applying it to really better someone's entire financial future and their whole life, so that all of a sudden they're set, like they can do what they want, what they're passionate about, and have their finances on the side taken care of, or go more into it. And, I don't think I've talked much about this, but I had, some initial people reviewing the book and talking about it. And one of them, they graduated with a PhD in finance, and it was from, prestigious university. And they told me, they said, some of the stuff in here was stuff they learned, like senior year of college. And how almost, a boatload of this information is stuff that really you wouldn't get into until later in higher education. And like, my goal with this is to take that previously, hidden away information, or, opaque investing terminology and skills and strategies, and bring that to the marketplace. So you don't need to have a PhD in finance to learn how to save and invest. Like, investing is just a profoundly proven and exceptionally effective way to build real savings and retirements. And that's really what we go through in this book. And that's why I implore, any beginner investor, or if you're getting into the market, and especially with kids in my school, like, just make that first investment in yourself, and it'll pay dividends throughout life. It's a crazy thing, but like, investing in yourself is just one of the most profitable ways to really invest in anything. It's a bet on your future based entirely on you. So it's some cool stuff. I'll link below. It's all over the place. I really do appreciate the reviews you guys have been giving me. It's awesome to see how it's helping people, and it's so cool to see those Amazon reviews come in and seeing people talk about how it's helped them. So I really do appreciate that, and thank you guys for helping making this such a success. So thanks guys, I appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye bye.